There's already been a lot of really good games this year.
It's only halfway through the year.
So many. Let's talk about them.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
We are the Brothers Murph, and indeed, it is time to talk about our favorite games that we have played from 2022
So far.
that have come out so far.
Indeed.
All right? There's going to be more games. Gen Con hasn't happened yet. Essen hasn't happened yet. There's going to be so many more games by the end of the year. So it's good to take a look now at what the year has been like for us.
And it's already been a really good year. Again, we made a list of like over 20 games that we had to whittle down to 10. And we are limiting it to games that one, we've obviously played, but also that both of us have played. Because there's a couple games that you've played, a couple games that I've played that the other one hasn't.
We're including mostly things that are out now. There is an exception to that that will be out by the end of the year. But for the most part, we want things that are available now or about to come out.
Indeed.
And instead focusing on stuff that's later, a little bit later. So
we'll get right into it. Make sure to like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and let's get to number 10.
Number 10 is a game all about being ooh so cutesy.
It's very cute.
It is Creature Comforts.
It is Creature Comfort. Creature Comfort is kind of like it gets compared to Everdell a lot because it's got like a similar theme and similar kind of things that you're doing, but it's all about gaining comfort.
Literally all your points are comfort. You are trying to make the coziest little home you can before winter hits, and you're a bunch of animals that are just going around collecting resources and things, but you're like making soup and making bread to go with that soup, and they pair together. You're making blankets and stuff and toys and board games and stuff like that. It's all about making life as cozy as possible, and I can't help but love that.
Yeah,
theme.
it's cool. Again, it's much lighter than Everdell, but it's a kind of a dice placement or dice kind of resource game where you have workers, you're putting them out, and then you have like your family die, which are dice in your color, but it's also kind of like community dice that you'll also get to use.
Yeah.
But you have to put out your workers, and the worker placement spots that you're putting them, this one will be like you can only put evens here. And so
you require certain numbers.
You're basically putting them out there and then kind of hoping that you end up rolling what you need to activate those spots. And there is some dice mitigation as well.
Right.
And it just works really well. It's super cute, super comfy. And again, if you want people to play Everdell or something like Everdell, this is a great kind of intro into that game because it's got a similar theme, but it's much lighter because Everdell can get, it's too heavy for new people, and if someone's really good at Everdell, they can like crush pretty hard. Yeah, but Creature Comforts is great.
Yeah, we really enjoy it so far. The theming is just one that like I'll always be intrigued by because the art's always really great.
Yes.
Really colorful and pretty and just
Kids Table Board Game always makes really good stuff. Yeah.
Oh, they always do. Yeah. So Creature Comforts is one that we've enjoyed so far this year and looking forward to playing more. There's going to be another game set in the Maple Valley called Maple Valley. I am very intrigued by that as well. But that's Creature Comforts number 10. Let's hop into number 9.
Number 9 is by that Praise Be.
Praise be to
Phil Walker Harding. Get some praise bees in the comment. Phil Walker Harding. We love Phil Walker Harding so much. Praise be. This is a game called Planted. This is a new game by Buffalo Games and Phil Walker Harding. They've been kind of doing a lot of these like intro to mechanic type games.
Yeah.
They had Summer Camp, which is a kind of a very much an intro into deck building that's really, really good. Planted is an intro into drafting.
Card drafting, that's right.
Indeed, yeah, it's really, really fun.
Yeah, so in this one, you are basically drafting out cards that are going to have resources for your plants.
Water.
You're going to have plant food, water, sunshine. You can get some green thumbs, which you can turn into wilds. And you're drafting out these cards, and the other things you might be drafting are tools or decorations. Yeah. Decorations are going to give you end game scoring, a little bit of set collection. Tools will give you tools. So then now if you get a water, you get maybe two water.
You get a spray bottle or something.
Things like that. Yeah. So at the end of the round,
houseplants.
You're feeding houseplants. At the end of the round, you'll have amassed some amount of resources from these cards, and you will then go to feed your plants those foods and things.
Yeah, one might be like 2 water and a sunshine is what this like particular fern needs or whatever.
And if you meet that need, that plant grows. You get to cover up the lowest spot on there with a grow token, which will have points at the end of the game. So you're trying to get like the right resources to grow as many plants as you can.
And you want to grow them multiple times because the more you grow them, the more points they're worth.
Yeah, some can grow more than others and things like that. So it's just a really adorable, very pretty, cozy theme. The kind of houseplant thing is really in right now, and I'm all for it because I think it's plants just are nurturing things. As you nurture them, they nurture you. So it's a very appealing theme, which I think is great for aiming at non-gamers because you have this great theme. The quality of the bits and stuff in this game are insane. It's like a $20 game. It's like a Target exclusive. It's not going to be available everywhere, but it's insanely good quality. And it's a really solid game, and they take the time and care to teach you, like, this is what card drafting is, because not everyone has played the other Phil Walker Harding game, Sushi Go, right? So they got to get into that mechanism somehow. This does it so well.
It's just good. It's just, it's really, really good. Praise be, always be praise be. And
praise be to Phil.
It's just, another feather in his cap of making very accessible games that make board gamers. This is a game that people pick up because it's cute and it's a really fun little game. And so it's like, that's what Phil does.
Yeah, we love it. We love it. That's Planted number 9. Let's get to number 8.
Number 8 is a game that I had never even heard of until we were going to play it. We played this over on Sovereignty. You can play it there. This is Planet Unknown.
Planet Unknown.
I didn't know anything about this game, but this has got, Mikey, all the stuff we like.
Nick, do we like placing tiles?
Yes, we do polygonal tiles.
Nick, do we like bumping tracks?
It's the best thing. It's my favorite thing in the whole world.
Do you like to place tiles so that you can bump those tracks?
I do like to do that.
This is a game where you are doing polyomino tile shapes, which you quite enjoy, to fill a planet as much as you can, kind of patchwork style. You're going to fill in that planet. You're terraforming it as you go. Yeah. Also,
putting like biomass down, civilization hubs and stuff like that.
And as you put civilization hubs down and stuff, whatever kind of tile you place down, you are going to move up. There's usually 2 tracks showing on a tile. You're going to move up those 2 tracks.
Yep.
As you move up those tracks, you're going to get all sorts of stuff. You might get bonus bumps up other tracks. You might get civilization cards, which give you all sorts of powers and stuff. Yep. There's a whole technology side that gives you ways to break all the base rules of the game. All sorts of stuff. You can work together some crazy combos
you really
of stuff
can. Yeah.
that are so satisfying. And then it's like one of the more like you can add variety to that game in so many ways.
because there's a whole bunch of different planets you can play on, and everyone can be playing on a different planet. There's not like you don't have to be on the same thing. All the corporations you're kind of going up with your like tech track, you can all have a different corporation. They all give you different special powers. So you can do tons of variety. Some of the planets are like wild. They're like all sorts of wild.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool. And the way you get the tiles is actually really cool too, because they're on kind of a lazy Susan in the middle of the board. And so there's a stack of tiles on your side, on your little depot. And when it's your turn, in the active turn, you can turn it or you can kind of keep it where it is. But then on every turn, everyone grabs a tile and places it because it's all simultaneous. There's nothing I can do to affect Mike. But it's cool because you can choose who's essentially going to get this grab from what stack when you're the active player. And it's just really, really fun. We played it over on Sovereignty, which works really well.
Yeah, check it
and
out.
We don't have this game physically, but I really, really want to get it because I absolutely adored it. I thought it was so good.
It's really fun. It just does a lot of the things that specifically we really enjoy in games.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So that, bump tracks all day.
All day.
So that's Planet Unknown, number 8. Let's get to number 7.
Number 7 is a big old game from Restoration Games, and that is Return to Dark Tower.
Dark Tower existed before, and then it's returned via Restoration Games. That's their whole business model, is taking old games from afar, bringing them back, and now the tower is bigger and badder, and it's app-assisted. Using a smart device that you Bluetooth connect to the tower, and it causes all sorts of crazy stuff to happen.
Yeah,
so
it's a really cool game.
Yeah, it's a big co-op game where you're going on a quest.
Yeah.
And you have to fight monsters and things along the way. You are trying to get to kind of these different points to advance the story because you're given a story. And then that will eventually lead you to kind of go to the tower where your big adversary is like waiting,
gauntlet.
and they come out like, "What's going on?" You got to fight the big bad to win.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with skulls and stuff because you're dropping stuff into the tower, which is a cube tower.
It's a cube tower. Yeah, it's a big electronic cube tower. So every turn you have to drop skulls into the cube tower, and the skulls are corruption. If you get too much corruption in a various part of the world, that's how one of the ways you can lose the game. And so you're dropping cubes in there, but again, it's a cube tower, so you don't know where it's going to come out, and there are doors on the tower, so it might get stuck behind a door, and you're like, oh, nothing came out. Well, I guess it's just in there now. But multiple times throughout the game, the inside of the tower is mechanical, and the different floors will actually rotate independently. So the tower will move, and it starts just turning on the inside. And what might happen is where there's like a kind of a little cache of skulls in there, that might turn to an open door, and then they just pour out. And every time you drop it in there, every time it turns, you just do not know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting every single time it happens. Every time the tower does anything, you're just like, oh God, what do I have to do?
It lights up, and there's like runes that will illuminate, and they will make your life harder. One of your actions will be harder to do.
So cool.
It's so cool, and like it's the coolest. Like that tower itself is like the coolest like single thing to me in a board game because of all stuff it does. It knows when you drop a skull in and everything.
Yeah, it has like a little sensor that
the engineering that went into this, and we obviously are sponsored by Restoration Games, so we've heard about this project for many years as it was going. It's like this is quite a feat.
The engineering was insane.
Yeah.
But it's
and
so
it works
cool.
really good.
Yeah,
so,
it's really, really fun.
Yeah, we're stoked on Return to Dark Tower. It's a big old epic game that you can play competitively as well.
You can.
But that is Dark Tower at number 7.
Boom.
Let's go ahead and hop into number 6.
Number 6 is a game that I was interested in, but when we
caught us by
first got it,
surprise.
it did catch us by surprise how good it was, and that's Long Shot, the dice game.
Absolutely.
Which is a roll and write version of Long Shot. And this game, Chris Handy, the gentleman who made it, contacted us to play it, and we're like, yeah, totally. And it seemed cool, but man, we played it, it's like, this is just so much fun. You're just running a horse race.
It's a roll and write game where you are betting on the outcome of a horse race, and the board will have 8 little horses, and you're rolling a die to advance the horses some amount of...
kind of like Camel-Up-y, where it's like, depending on what you roll.
Yeah, and you don't have a ton of ways to influence the race. You can a little bit, but you're kind of watching this race play out, and then based on how the race is going, you're going to make bets on horses and stuff.
Yep.
And certain horses have better odds than others to win, so their payouts are less. But if you get the long shot horse, you get that 8, and they manage to win, you're going to get a big old payout. So you're trying to track what horse is winning. There's little ways you can mod and make horses more likely to move.
Yeah.
So you can do some of those things, but you're kind of collecting jerseys and helmets for your horses, or a bit of set collection there. You can go to the concession. You're doing like rows and columns to get bonuses and stuff.
You can actually buy one of the horses, and then if that horse becomes in first, second, or third, you'll get a payout because of that.
So there's always like little things you can do, but basically it comes down to what number got rolled. And you're going to do something with that number. Do something with that 7.
Yeah, so if the 7 was rolled, you have to bet on horse 7 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So there's always fun little things, but it's a quick little game that really gets exciting because you realize you have so little control over the horse race, and it becomes like you get all like, come on, 4, we can do this, we can do this, you know. It's really, really fun. Really, it accommodates a ton of players.
It's like 2 to 8. It plays really well at 2. It plays really well at 8. I mean, it's one of those games.
Solo it as well.
And it's like, yeah, you can. That's right. So like I said, technically 1 to 8. It comes like a little box. It's one of those games where I'm like, man, this is just going to get brought everywhere because it's just so much fun. It's just so incredibly fun.
Goes down smooth. That is Long Shot, the dice game.
Really good.
Really, really fun. We are going to be hanging on to it for a good long while, I reckon.
Indeed.
That's why it's our number 6 so far from 2022.
Let's get number 5. Number 5, actually, there's going to be a playthrough of this coming out on Monday. We're dropping this video on Friday. That is Burn Cycle.
Oh, yeah.
Burn Cycle is really, really fun. This is a big chip theory game.
Big co-op?
Yeah, big co-op chip theory game. It's a heist game, actually. It looks kind of like it wouldn't be because there's like big mechs and robots and stuff, but it's actually a heist game where in this world, the humans made AI, and then the humans ended up kind of like killing all themselves off, basically. And then the AI kind of just like rebuilt the planet and then brought the humans back. And then the humans like took over again and made all these crazy big corporations. And now you're playing as the robots, kind of trying to overthrow them. So you're sneaking around the corporations. And that's the thing, each corporation has a bunch of different missions, and every game you're doing one of those missions, but it's a stealth game. It's not like a big coming in guns blazing kind of thing.
No, you are not going to be very well equipped to just like duke
You're like
it out.
janitors. You're like, you're robots. You're kind of like the help staff in the way.
Do a job over here.
Yeah.
So you're instead trying to like really manipulate and move around, and you can get equipment and mods that might help you then do battle or something, or help you get a key.
You're like accessing terminals to
you're
get cool stuff.
You're hacking into the mainframe and whatnot. So it does like a lot of cool things that I'm like, you know what? If this was just a run around and blast people,
almost
and
no
stuff,
interest. Yeah,
I think I'd be interested, but I'm like, well, we have Zombie Side, we have games that are like that, so like I don't know if I need it. But this goes a different direction.
It does.
I'm like, this is actually really interesting.
I really
scratches
like it.
a different itch.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where this is going to end up at the end of the year list for me because I really like Burn Cycle. I think it's absolutely outstanding. As a chip theory game, I do think it's the most accessible of all the chip theory games that we've played.
I feel like it's the one that requires the least amount of like kind of investment as a like I play too many bones.
Yeah, exactly,
you know what I mean?
totally. And it's super fun. I love the look of it. It's chip theory, so the production value is like outstanding. It's really cool. Yeah, I really like Burn Cycle. I'm very excited to play more of it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of content in that box, so we have a lot to explore.
Yeah, that's our number 5, Burn Cycle. Super cool. Let's get to number 4. Number 4 actually is also going to have a playthrough coming out this week. We're doing a big Gen Con preview this week, which is why, yes. This is Sky Mines. Sky Mines is a retheme of the game Mombasa by Alexander Pfister. And we've always wanted to play Mombasa, but didn't like the theme, and so they rethemed it, and now we're super pumped, and it's cool. It's about mining the moon and stuff.
Yeah, so you're mining the moon, and basically there's 4 corporations that are up there and doing all the mining, and you're investing in those companies. You're trying to make sure that the company you've invested in, that you have the most shares in, really has a big, share of the moon in terms of the mining rights.
It's kind of like an 18XX. There's these different companies. You don't own them, but it's just like you are investing in them.
Yeah, and the more kind of present a company is on the moon, the more valuable their shares are. And if I've invested and I have 5 shares, I stand to make more money, and money is the currency.
Yeah.
of the realm.
Indeed, it's
that you're
super
hoping to
cool.
get.
Yeah, it's very cool because you can invest in any of the companies. There's 4 tracks, bump and tracks. We love it.
Bump and tracks.
And yeah, you can move up any of those, and then you also have these cards. These cards will have like different materials on them, and then a couple different kinds of scientists. And you can get bigger and better cards and stuff like that. But the cool thing is you start the game with like 3 action slots. You play 3 cards and you'll activate those cards.
Yep.
But then on top of your board, there's essentially 3 different discard piles. There's a discard pile for each action slot.
Yep.
And when you bring when your turn is done and you put all your cards up, you have to put 1 card in each pile. And then you take one of the piles and then you put 1 card in each pile. So that's kind of like the deck building in this game is you're putting these cards up, but you're constantly having to split them up. So you might have a really awesome hand with like a ton of energy and do something big and crazy, but then you have to split those cards up.
Yeah,
so you can't do these
all those cards.
humongous turns all the time. And it just works really, really well.
Yeah, I think it adds a lot of like really interesting choices of like when do you play your cards and what kind of sequence
and
you
where
do
you
them.
put what piles you put them in really matters.
But ultimately, it's kind of like an action selection game that like once we got into it, I was like, you know what, this is not so crazy heavy as I thought it was. And we really dig the idea of just mining the moon and getting helium-3 and stuff.
And it's got a bunch of different modules, and so I'm super excited to try the different modules and stuff like that. It's got a solo mode, which is going to be cool. Yeah, so we really like Sky Mines a lot. Again, there'll be a playthrough for that coming out this week.
Check it out.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. I've always wanted to play this one, and so we finally get to, and it's super rad.
Super rad, so check it out. That's Sky Mines at number 4. Let's get to number 3. Number 3 is all about decorating a house, Nick. We live together in this house. We need it to be a certain way, but the certain way we need it to be is not necessarily a certain way that the other needs it to be.
That's right.
We got to figure out in decorum, okay?
Yeah.
So in decorum, this is a really simple game where you have a little house that has spots for decorations. You have like wall hangings, curios, and lamps. And what you're going to do is you're either going to add something to the house, you're going to remove something from the house, you're going to swap an item for a different color item, or you can paint a room. That is literally the 4 things you can do in this game. And we each have certain ways that we've been told in secret we need the house to be. For example, I need to have more green items downstairs than upstairs.
And I can't have any blue walls in the entire house.
And we don't talk about these things.
Very passive aggressive.
It's faux pas. And so we have to play things, and then all we can do is give our opinions. So if I put in a lamp, I can say, hey, what do you think about that?
I hate that lamp.
Oh, you hate that lamp?
I hate that lamp.
And I have to figure out, like, why? I think the lamp is great. And so you can get really into the role-playing of this, where you get all in, like, I think my taste is fine, thank you. I'm a modern gal. I enjoy modern fineries.
Yeah.
And you're like, all antiques. I'm like, why are you into some retro stuff? It sucks.
It does. And the game does help you get a little bit in the role-playing. And the role-playing is not super heavy, but it's just little things like that.
Yeah, if you
Instead
want
of saying, like, no, just be like, no, I hate that. That's terrible. And it just gets giggly and super fun. But it's tough because you're looking at you're like, how there is a way always to make them all work.
Yes, there is an answer to the puzzle that you've been given.
There is one. There's a way
for the
to do
house
it
to be perfect for everybody.
But it feels so impossible. A couple times throughout the game, you will be able to share a little bit of information, which is great, but it is so difficult. And one thing they're going to be doing is coming out with they're planning on is coming out with an app, because there is kind of like a little campaign to this game where there's a bunch of different little scenarios, but then the app eventually will just like essentially randomly generate them for you, and then it's like, and the app will make sure that it's possible, and then so it's infinitely playable, but it's just so much fun. It's just so good.
Yeah, it's really good, great. It does a lot with a little. Like it's a simple concept and stuff. Gives you a little bit of story throughout the campaign. The campaign's kind of designed as like a 2-player thing, but then there's 3- and 4-player like missions or scenarios as well. So there's a lot of content in that box, and it's such an easy game to get going. Again, I explained the whole game to you
right now,
just there, and it's so easy to get into, and it's just really fun. You get right to the fun in this one, and that's something that's really exciting. So that is Decorum, number 3. Let's hop into number 2.
Number 2, we're going to keep it into co-op deduction. This is Paint the Roses.
I'm a fan of co-op deduction.
We both like co-op deduction a lot. Paint the Roses is a co-op deduction game where you are in the Alice in Wonderland universe, and you are gardeners taking care of the Queen of Hearts garden. She is very, very mean.
Yeah, she didn't like it.
She didn't like anybody. And so basically every single person will draw a whim card. There are easy, medium, and hard whims, and the whims will tell you essentially the queen has told you specifically what she wants in her garden. So it might be like
what she wants next to each other.
Yeah, what she wants next to her. So I want purple roses next to yellow roses, but Mike might be like he wants spades like the suit, but a bushes shaped like spades, the suit, next to purple flowers. But we don't know that. So basically on your turn, you're going to take a tile from the greenhouse, and that is going to have some kind of bush, which is going to be a suit of card, and then some kind of flower on it. And you're going to place it somewhere in the garden. And then everyone will put cubes on that tile that was just placed to say whether or not that made a match for their whim.
Right.
And so if I needed purple next to yellow, if I put a purple tile next to 2 yellows, I would put 2 cubes on there. And then everyone goes, oh, okay, that made 2 matches for Nick.
Okay.
And then at the end of that turn, you always have to guess at least one whim.
You have to make a guess. And if you are correct, then your little gardener gets to move further around the edge of the board.
Just build out more
But
of the
at
garden.
the end of every turn, the queen is also going to go around the edge of the board and chase you down. If you are wrong, she moves twice as fast as
She
usual.
has an axe in her hand.
She has an axe. Her only plan is to chop your heads off.
Yes.
And she will continually speed up throughout the game and get faster and faster. So you have to make at least one guess. Then it really comes down to a lot of like, okay, we know 2 people's things. We'll guess one, save the next one for the next turn. You can get really strategic with how you go about the game.
And the game is so easy to explain. Like we basically explained the whole thing right there. And this is a game you can play with. I honestly think you can make this a gateway game because one is co-ops. You're all working together. Yeah. And it's so simple. But the strategy in terms of the thinking is so deep because it's always like, okay, so we think Mike is this, but like if he's this, why didn't he take this tile over here?
There's a lot of cool stuff to deduce.
Why did he place it here instead of over here? And so there's so much to think about in terms of like, it's so much of it is like what you didn't do as opposed to what you did do. And it just works so well.
No information can be information.
Indeed. And it's just gorgeous. The art's beautiful. The tiles are beautiful. I really think this has a chance to be like an evergreen. I think it's great. I really like Paint the Roses a lot.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. It's just like hit and
it's so hard, yeah.
We've showed it to a lot of people so far, and everyone loves it because it is a legitimate challenge. And then there's a bunch of modules you can play. If you want to make it harder, I can't imagine
try to make it harder.
Being so good at the game that I need to make it harder.
I know,
but you
right?
can do that, and you incorporate lots of other characters from the Alice in Wonderland universe, which is really cool. It's a fantastic production. It's gorgeous. Cannot speak highly enough about how it looks and then how it plays. It's really fun. That's Paint the Roses. It's our number 2 favorite game so far in 2022. Let's get into number 1.
Mike, what's the best game of the year right now?
Oh my gosh, it is Wayfarers of the South Tigris. Now, this is not out quite yet, but Shem and Garfield Games are really good about getting their games out quickly.
Let's be honest, when they do Kickstarters, their games are done.
So they expect, and this game was as well, so they expect to have them out by the end of the year. Obviously, shipping and stuff pending, but Wayfarers of the South Tigris is the beginning of a new trilogy. Shem Phillips also did the North Sea trilogy, the West Kingdom trilogy. The West Kingdom trilogy games were all amazing.
Absolute hits. All were bona fide hits.
They just keep building on each design. And so Shem Phillips and Sam have done it again with Wayfarers of the South Tigris. It's so good. Incredible.
It's so good.
Is this time you're set in Baghdad. And basically we are tasked with kind of a challenge we're trying to figure out the circumference of the earth.
So we're like charting the sky.
So we're exploring, right? We're charting the night sky as we walk over land and sail over water to kind of learn more about this earth that we are on.
Yeah.
And all of those things serve to give you different types of cards that do different things. So the night sky, all the space cards are going to give you endgame scoring of some form or another. The land cards are going to give you worker placement spots to use your dice.
Some resources.
Some like resources. The vistas will give you bonuses. So if you get a certain type of tag, like if you get a harbor, for example, anytime you get a harbor, you get a provision.
Yeah, if you're out in open water, you can then put a villager in that open water, which will give you a bonus whenever you rest. Right. Like whole bunch of different stuff.
And that's where we get really excited about this game is like there is so many potential combinations of cards that you can put together to make these synergies and so that everything that you do is super efficient and gives you all sorts of goodies and stuff like that. And to me, what gets so exciting is like I don't think I would ever find the bottom of the possibilities with this game. And that's really, really exciting. There's always something to do. Like, well, if I combo this card with that, what happens here? That's really fun to explore.
And the game looks overwhelming when you're playing it. And it's one of the bigger ones. People always ask, like, where is it in the thing? We always say, like, it's not, I don't think it's quite as heavy as Paladins, but it's pretty close. Yeah, it's pretty close.
Just because of the number of options.
Yeah, but it's so cool. And there's like dice placement in it and worker placement is both. And it's just outstanding. And it's got the Miko art, so it's absolutely gorgeous. I love the setting. I love the theme. It's just rad. I'm so excited for the rest of this series. Again, the Garfield game's just been crushing it. And this one, we'll have to play it some more. We played it a number of times at this point. but like it might be my favorite of all the Garfield games, which is really saying a lot. I like it so much.
I feel like when all is said and done, to this point, if we're just calculating like what has come out so far, I see this one being the most infinitely replayable because there's so many combinations of those cards.
And you know he's going to expand it.
Oh, I just don't even know what that would be, but I'm here for it already.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Wayfarers to South Tigris is really, really exciting. We really like it. If you like Garfield games and stuff, and you like what Shem and Sam did with the West Kingdom trilogy, I think you're going to enjoy yourself here as well. This trilogy is off to a really good start. Yeah. And this wasn't even the first one they designed. So that's what's kind of exciting. You're like, well, do say. And this one's all focusing on dice.
Yes.
Stuff with dice, basically. Different ways to use dice. I'm like, they're just like out here challenging themselves. They're like, I'm bored. Let me think of like a weird challenge for myself to do. I'm like, we'll make a trilogy about dice. I'm just like, standing clap ovation. Well how dare you be so great. That is our list, everybody.
Indeed.
10 games. And like we said at the top, there's so many more that we didn't even include. This is going to, I dare say, at the end of the year, be a tough one to pare down.
It's going to be a tough one. And we haven't hit Gen Con, we haven't S, and that's why we're doing this now, because we know that this list is probably going to change in like a couple weeks. It's going to be a good year. It already really has been. Yeah, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for being here. You'll see our patrons are scrolling by right now.
Patrons.
We always give a big shout out to our patrons at the end of every top 10 because they make it so we can afford rent on this place, basically.
It is honestly super helpful.
It's humongous. So if you want to check out our Patreon, check out the link down in the description below. We do like Q&A stuff there. We're starting to do some reviews over there, all that kind of stuff. So make sure to check that out. And put down in the comments below, what's your favorite game of the year so far? Could be a new to you game or just a new game. Let us know. We just want to open up a little discussion down below. It's been a very good year so far.
Yeah, it's been really great what you've played. Let us know things you're looking forward to that haven't come out yet. Let us know those as well so that we know to keep an eye out for them.
Indeed.
Until next time, I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
We're the Brothers Murphy. We'll catch y'all in the next top 10.
Bye, everybody.